You sit down with a total game-changing plan for your life, but then maybe it's 60 minutes later and you're scrolling on your phone, you're having negative thoughts about yourself and feeling like a failure. You think you have a discipline problem, you don't. What you have is a story problem. And right now, I'm going to show you today exactly how your ego just deleted your progress to keep you stuck in the same exact place. And at the end, I'm going to give you 7 steps on exactly how to recode and rewire this so you can actually create real change in your life. Now, if you like these trainings, make sure you like and subscribe for more, and let's dive into the whiteboard. So let's take it from the top. Let's say one day you get that inspiration where it's like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna make the changes in my life. I'm gonna grow my business more. I'm gonna go lose weight. I'm gonna just change who I am. And you're sitting there, you're writing down the plan, you're actually taking action, you're focused, dialed in. But then maybe it's a minute later, maybe it's an hour later, a day, a week, whatever it may be. Eventually, that drive is gone. And what's now happening is we're having some random thoughts come in. Maybe, and mind you, these thoughts are not always in the middle forefront of your mind. Sometimes they're whispering to you in the background. But either way, we still hear them. The thoughts of like, things are not working out. Maybe I'm not on the right path. There's something wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong with my life. No results are showing up. And as we have these thoughts, and as we're trying to take action and make this happen, eventually what happens is we start to feel upset. We start to feel like these thoughts are actually real. We get caught up in this story and we genuinely feel the emotion, even though we're still sitting there trying to make changes. Nothing has changed from the start to where we're at now. But we're feeling sad, we're feeling upset, then we slow down, we give up, we take the night off, we stop staying consistent, we distract ourselves, and then what happens? Nothing changes. I'm stuck in the same place, feeling the same way. I cannot get out of this trap. And we gave up, we stopped, and it's all stuck in our head. I don't know about you, but this has happened to me countless times as I was building my first business, and even as I'm building this brand new business as well. This has happened. And I'm going to share with you the keys on exactly why this does happen so you're clear on it, how to catch it in the moment, and how to rapidly change it so you no longer get caught up in these stories and slow down or lose the progress that you absolutely know you can make to actually change your life. I'll tell you, those visions, those dreams, and those goals that you have in your mind, those desires you have in your mind, you are absolutely capable of accomplishing them. So, why does this happen? Why do we get so caught up into it? Why is it that one day we have so much drive and motivation to change, and the next day it's like we are in this complete depressive funk and we don't want to do anything and we just want to run away from the world? We want to just completely give up. Why does this happen? It's because the story that we tell ourselves, it's the story that you're telling yourself. It's the story that you're telling yourself. And here's what I mean. What starts out as a thought, so as you're acting, what starts out as a thought slowly becomes a story because what happens is the thoughts that you have, when you hold it for over 7 seconds, it starts to produce an emotion. Okay. And the brain does not know the difference between reality and imagination. And mind you, 95% of your life is on autopilot. That's the subconscious mind. So most of us are up in la la land, living in our mind, thinking about situations, worrying about situations, etc., etc. We don't even know it though, because it genuinely feels like reality. Like you ever have a scenario where you're just sitting there and you're thinking about something and you're thinking about it and you're daydreaming about it and then you start to feel it, you're going through it and then you snap out of it and your body's completely rattled up and shaken up. That's because you actually experience that in real time. So that's what I mean by the story you tell yourself. It's when you get caught up in a thought pattern, okay? You get caught up in a thought pattern and you start to experience the emotion behind it, and it genuinely feels real to you. Even though it's just a thought and it's not actually real, it feels real to us and then it influences our future moving forwards. Because who here, if you're watching this training, is it easier to take action when you're motivated or unmotivated? Right? When you feel good about yourself, when you feel confident, you're more likely to go talk to that girl, that guy. When you don't feel confident, when you feel like crap about yourself, you're more likely to not act that way. So your thoughts and emotions do influence how you take action. I'm going to break down the actual system here soon for you. But the story you tell yourself influences how you feel and influences how you act. So what starts out as a thought becomes an actual story and then influences our actual reality. We get caught up in it. So here's an example, and I'm going to share with you a personal example that happens to me over the years. So for those who don't know, if you're new to my channel, I built my first business at the age of 19. It became very successful or pretty successful, we'll say. And then at 25, I completely shifted gears, and I've been building my new business over the past little bit now. And on this journey, what I've noticed is this is kind of what happens to me. So at first there's an event where let's say I'm working on the business. So I'm making content, I'm creating, I'm talking to people, whatever it may be. And then the second thing that happens is a thought comes in my mind, like I'm behind. I see all these other people online and I sometimes forget that social media is only highlights, right? And most of it is all just fake. You only see the best of the best of the best. It's not actual reality. But I'll have these thoughts of like, I'm behind. I should be way farther along. I have way higher expectations for myself, and I'm not fulfilling those expectations. And I should be way farther ahead than where I'm at right now. And this thought then becomes a story that I tell myself. I buy into it as if it's reality. Mind you, everyone is on their own unique path, right? You do not know what the future holds for you. Like every single person is on their own unique path, going through their exact own unique thing. But yet, again, we create these stories in our minds that make no sense, but it makes sense to us, right? So mine is I should be farther ahead. I'm way behind. I'm not where I should be at. And then what happens over time is I start to feel pretty upset. I start to get very beat down, very upset, very sad feeling. And it hits me like a wave. And then what I usually do is I'll usually just stop. I'll overthink things. I will stress. My brain will go into overdrive trying to figure out how do I speed up the progress? Why am I not where I want to be? And tries to make sense of all this. And then I'll often just end up disappearing to the beach or somewheres in nature by myself. And then I figure it out. I get myself back on track. Now that I know and I do this work now with six-figure entrepreneurs and high level people, and I've helped over 500 plus clients, and most of the work I've done to help them lose weight when I was a weight loss coach was in the mind. Now that I've been doing this for so long, I now can understand myself so well that I can get out of these funks very fast so it does not stop me. But imagine if I didn't know this. I would buy into the story and I'd let my emotions then run my life, and I would eventually let that influence my actions, which would then get me a result. And I mean, if you're stopping all the time, if you're overthinking all the time, if you're stressing all the time, if you're slowing down and procrastinating all the time, what kind of results are you going to get? You're not going to get far. You're not going to get too much results that you want. So that's what would happen to me over and over and over again. Now, just imagine for a second if the story, though, was completely different. The story was like, I'm 100% on the right track. Everything's working out for me in my favor. I'm exactly where I need to be to get to where I want to go. I would feel completely different. I would feel confident. I'd feel motivated. I'd feel excited for every single day, knowing that one day, it could be any day, things are going to completely shift. I'm going to be exactly where I want to be at with my next goals. And then that's going to influence how I take action. I'll be more consistent, be more excited, more passionate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the results would be completely different over time. That's the power of the story that we tell ourselves. So your thoughts are not you. So the first thing that you should know is that you are not the thoughts that you have. The problem is, though, is that once a thought is personalized, once we do identify ourselves with a thought, we buy into it, we collapse back into that story. We buy into it as if it's actually true. Now, this is how the ego tends to keep you stuck. Now, mind you, ego is not a bad thing. Ego is there to protect you like a strict parent. They want to protect you at all costs because the ego's number one job is to protect the identity, to keep things in line, to make sure that you have a strong sense of self so you can function. So that's the ego doing its job. So the ego, how it does its job, one of the ways is it reacts. For example, you have a thought, right? As soon as you react to that thought, as soon as you identify and personalize that thought as this is actually who you are, that's the ego speaking in real time. to try to get you to collapse back to your old identity, to try to get you to buy into that story so you do not change your life. Okay? So here's an example. Here's you, and it's like, all right, my mind, my conscious mind, 5%, the one that makes the game plan, the one that makes the goals, is like, I want change. I'm going to change my life. Ego hears that, and ego's like, oh, shoot, this is a threat. This is not good. We don't want change. Who do you think you are, conscious mind? You're going to stay the same. Because if you change, that means identity changes, and that means that the ego changes as well, and the ego does not want change. It's trying to protect you, right? How do you protect something? You make sure everything is predictable and the same over and over and over and over again. That way it's secure, it's safe, it's predictable. It's how the brain functions. It doesn't want you to succeed, it wants you to stay alive and survive. So ego sees that as a threat. So then it'll send you kind of a thought like this. You'll have a thought as you're going of like, it's not working out as fast as I thought it would. Or a thought like, I think I might be on the wrong track. And instead of seeing that thought and just telling yourself, like, hey, this is just a thought, it's not real. It's not real. Nothing actually changed. This is just a thought. What happens, because we don't learn this growing up, is that we buy into it. We buy into this of like, oh, shoot, it's actually not working out. The progress isn't here as fast as I thought it would. Look at all these other people doing way better than me. Gosh, like I want change so bad, but nothing is changing. It's not working out. So see how we're reacting to it now, and now where the emotion starts to come up, and then what happens? Eventually, over time, emotions. So this is I'm going to explain here how it works. But eventually, over time, we're going to give up. We're going to slow down. We're going to stop because we bought into the story. So here's how the system works on how you create your own personal reality experience. So you have a belief system. Okay, your belief systems run everything. So you have your core belief systems. Your core belief systems is what sends you the thoughts and emotions that you have. If you want to learn more about this, by the way, I have more trainings on this, on how to, there's a whole entire masterclass on like, give me 60 minutes and I'll completely rewire your mind for success. Something like that. If you scroll down my YouTube page, you will find more trainings that will explain how this all works in more in depth. So belief system sends you the thoughts and emotions that you have. Over time, the thoughts and emotions that you have, you buy into and it actually forms your identity. Okay. And then that way your identity just repeats those same old things over and over and over again. Most of us has the same thoughts and feelings daily. And then identity is protected by ego. And this influences naturally how you take action, the decisions that you make or don't make, and the focus that you have on your life. These are just some of the things that the identity influences. And that is what produces results, right? That's how you make things happen. That's how you create things, actions, decisions, makes results in our lives. And then as results, what you'll notice is it's just a reconfirmation of what we already believe to be true. Someone who believes they're poor are probably poor. Someone who believes they're rich over time will eventually be rich if they actually follow the process and do exactly what they need to do. Someone who believes they're not confident will not be a confident person. Someone who believes they're genuinely confident will be a confident person. Someone who believes that people are good will eventually see all the good people. They might see the bad people as well, but they won't pay attention to it. So they'll see more good people. It's just how the system works. And again, if you want to learn more about this, I go way more depth on other trainings. So knowing how the system works, we can get clear on how it also sabotages us. Because as you have a new thought to make a change, right? As you have a new thought to make the change, now you're messing with the system. Now you're messing with the system. Now you're trying to change identity, and ego hates that. So ego's like, I'm going to get you back in line. And how it does it is through these thoughts, trying to personalize things, trying to identify with things that will get you to run back home to collapse back to the old self. So that way you get back in line and you act the same, you make the same decisions so you can get the same results. So here's the fix. Okay, here's the fix to this. Is number one, understanding, like genuinely knowing, like you are not your thoughts. That's the first thing. I am not my thoughts. I am much more than my thoughts. The next thing, also as a bonus, I didn't write this, but also you should know that emotions are never random. And this is a good thing to know because a lot of people struggle with their emotions because they don't know where they come from or why they're feeling the way they feel. But you should know that your emotions are never, ever, ever random. Emotions come from interpretation. And interpretation, how we interpret things, comes from our belief systems. Again, everything, the root of it all is beliefs. So you are not your thoughts. Emotions are never random. They come from somewhere. So therefore, they're in a way a messenger. They're a signal for something deeper. The next thing is understand that these stories that you have in your mind are not truth. They're not truth. Okay, it's a protective part of you that's trying to keep you safe and secure. It's a strict parent. After you know this, the process to change it is number one, you want to catch the negative feeling and thought in real time. So when you have that thought of like, I'm behind, catch it. Oh, see, I caught it. I caught it. All right, I am behind. I noticed I had this thought today. And it's just a thought. Like it's not actually reality. It's not actually real. Who's to say I'm behind? Who is the whole world agree upon that? What if my life completely changes tomorrow? Am I behind then? What if I showed up for 60 more days and I felt this way, but I end up making $10 million dollars in my business? Would I feel like I'm still behind after all this time? No. No. Right? So the brain's trying to predict that negative future. It's trying to drag you back into that old system, that old way of being, that old process. So catch the thought. Okay. And if the thought goes on longer, you can catch the emotion. Okay. You're sad that you're behind. That's what you think. And then you buy into it. And then you feel the sad emotion. Catch the emotion, one of them. Then write the pattern. So after you catch either the negative thought or the negative emotion that you're feeling that's messing with you, write the pattern. So write down limiting beliefs. So LB, write down thought, emotion, action, result. That's in short, that's what it is. Okay. So belief, thought, emotion, action, result. It's kind of how the system works. Then fill in the blanks. Right now, you know that you're feeling upset and sad. Right now, you're knowing that you have thoughts that you're on the wrong path and that you're behind. Okay. Here comes the crazy good part. This is the best part. Number three, find the root. Okay. Because here's the thing, you don't have those thoughts randomly. They're coming from somewhere, which is the belief system. This is the root that's producing all of this. So if we can get to the root and change the root, there's no need to continue on with everything else. So this is why a lot of people fail, is because they try to out action their identity, their belief system. It never works that way. It's very rare. It's very rare. It's a suffering journey. So find the root. Ask self, what would I have to believe to be true? This is just one way you can do it. What would I have to believe to be true about myself in order to be thinking or feeling this way right now? And then this is going to bring up the root. This is going to show the limiting belief that you have. So maybe the limiting belief is like, I'm on the wrong path. And then you can have, number four, an honest dissection of yourself. You got to have honesty here. You can question it. Is this an actual fact? Is this a full truth with a capital T? Does everyone agree upon this? If I knew that this was going to get me to my goal in 6 months, would I look back and still think this way? No. I guess it's not a fact, and it's not full truth that I'm on the wrong path. Like, I am taking action. I'm working on changing my life. It's going to take some time. I need to give it time. But like I know myself and I can figure it out. I know I can get there. I'm adaptable. So now that you realize that this limiting belief is limiting you, you can change it because beliefs are not facts. So why hold on to something that's not helping you? So change it. Adopt a new belief. Usually it's a 180. Well, the truth is then, the new belief is that I am on the right path. I am figuring things out as I go. I'm going to get there. And as you adopt a new belief, step into the new state. Visualize it and feel it as if it is true. So go back up here, write down the new belief. I am on the right path. So I'm on the right path. How would you be thinking then? Will you be thinking in a more positive ways? Like, okay, I'm going to figure this out today. I'm excited to make more progress. I'm going to work on this. I'm exactly where I need to be at. There's lessons in this present moment that I can learn. The emotions you'll feel is more confidence and excitement. Oh my gosh, I feel so good. I'm on the right path. I'm figuring things out. I'm going to make my life change. And then you're going to take more consistent actions, better, faster actions, more consistent overall, like I just said, and the results will start to change as well. They will start to change. They have to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a change. You're changing, though. You're doing things differently, so things will have different results. You'll have different results. So go through that process again and ask yourself, how would you think and feel as if that belief is actually true, if that is your actual truth? And then you step into that new state. That is the new identity. You're going to act off that state until you actually fully become it. Because eventually, as you act on it and you repeat it and you find evidence for it, you will literally become it. And that old story will start to fade away and you will buy into the new story over and over and over again. And as the old story tries to pop up, don't identify with it, don't react to it. See it for how it is. Understand it's just an old program, it's an old thought, old emotion, does not serve you anymore, does not need much attention. Focus on the new state. I am on the right path. I am figuring things out. I can do this. I got this. Feel it, think it, act off that state, and then continue to do that. And as long as you give yourself time and you believe in this and you do this and apply this, your life will change. Come back in 6 months, save this video and come back in 6 months and watch how powerful this is. Watch how powerful your life changes. Even 3 months, give it 90 days. And that is a training for today, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure that you subscribe if this has genuinely helped you. And make sure if you do want some help, if you're a six-figure entrepreneur, if you're a high-level performer, and you need help breaking through your self-sabotage, breaking through the hidden ceiling in your income, you want to make more money, you want to impact more people, you want to level up, you can apply for one-to-one help down below in the description. All right, that go, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next training. Remember, every single Thursdays and every single Mondays.